Hi, this is Ashishar Bedekar and welcome to my podcast, The ARB Show. I'm thrilled to introduce today's guest, Yatin. Yatin is a serial entrepreneur. He loves inventing new solutions to identify and create solutions for hard problems. And his specialty is working in multidisciplinary innovation opportunities. He is currently the co founder of Euphotic Labs, also called NOSH, and they are doing something very interesting. They are building kitchen robots that can cook homely meals completely autonomous and as per your taste and diet requirements. And he was sharing that how the product is primed for launch by end of the year, so that is something which is really interesting. He was also earlier founder and CTO of Lumos, which was focused on building connected apparel for cyclists. Welcome to the show, Yatin. Do share about your life journey and your vision for Nosh.
Yes, thanks Ashish for inviting me, and we had a good time when I was at Lumos. Pleasure working with you. So, actually, I share a little bit about me, right? How it all how is my life journey been? So, I am actually a village kid who grew up in village, small village near Surat. Studied in the village up to fifth class, and then grew up from there. Right. So I moved to Bangalore around 2008 to do my master at ISC, and that's where I first time experienced urban life. Right. So the good part about the village is like you get very good food, fresh ingredients, organic, everything, right? And then when you're in city, you have to make compromise. Personally, I feel that, right? So I did my masters at the Indian Institute of Science on the electronic product design, and I was very fascinated about the product engineering, product design, which and what impact it can create in people's life, right? So that's what I enjoyed. Post graduation, I joined semiconductor company. The thing was, it was offering. It came to campus. I sat into it, and then I was selected. I was like, let's see what happens there. So I worked there for 3.5 years. Personally, over time I stopped liking it. I felt like I'm not directly connected. Like I wanted to do something that directly impact users, like directly someone use it and experience it, and it gives me pleasure. So I felt that link is broken. Though work was really good technically and very challenging. So I joined Lumos as a CTO. Lumos was in very early stage, pre-funding stage, and then what I like about it, like there are very few companies working on the hardware product at that time, and I really like the vision of you have a boarding wearable where you wear your shirt, you carry a bag, you wear a bunch of things, but none of them are smart. None of them are really they are same from many years, right? So we like that. Let's do something and create impact on the variables. So that's what we started with. We started with bag because bag is like you don't have to worry about sizes. It's very standard and everyone have it. So we thought we'll add more tech to bag, and first thing was it need a energy. If you want to put something in the basically there is no energy source there, right? So to put tech you need energy. So we started with a solar backpack. We're like, let's get energy in the bag. So that's where we're doing solar, but then we quickly realized that it is not for everyone. It is for the niche hobbies market, cyclists, hikers, trackers, bikers. So we started going on that line, like targeting the niche market. And we got very good response in Europe specifically. We sold, I think, close to 3,000 units overall between two products. So it was actually tremendous learning, right? Like thinking about a product and really building it, selling it, making the compliance work for Europe and understanding customers from very far end. Like you don't really meet them, but you have to understand from a distance. So it was a great experience where we actually faced challenges like meeting the quality expectation of a European, like the bag they use and the quality they get, the material is being used there. It was hard for us to get those kind of things here. And obviously the working capital, any hardware business, working capital is a really challenging piece, especially if you are not very heavily funded. So that time actually the venture ecosystem, venture debt ecosystem was also in very early stage. So we really faced that challenge, and then we have to let it go. Like we have to stop working there. So post that, I was doing consulting, and then in fact around that time my wife also completed a study and started working. So we had this challenge of managing our food. Like she come home late, and I really not good at cooking. How do we manage the food, right? So we tried a lot of cooks, but we had so much. We wanted that Gujarati taste, and we couldn't get that at all. So that's where I started thinking like, okay, with my all technical expertise, I am being from Indian Institute of Science, can I solve this problem? So I started as a part-timer, building something, building the mechanism, etc. So with friend I started, and then once we had a proto working, we made actually first dish. I remember it was a very large prototype, something like a satellite. So like people used to initially when we were building in a co-working space, people used to assume that we are working on satellites because it was so large. So we built a prototype. We actually took a lot of iteration to get the taste right. And for me, it was like, if taste is not coming out well, then I am not going to do this. Like taste is for me, like taste was the most important part. If you achieve the taste, because frankly, I am building it for taste, right? So that way, we could few dishes, around 5 dishes, and it was really coming out well. There were things like which we can improve, but we achieved the taste with that large prototype. So that's where we got serious, and then went into full time. Like really started putting time, stop all the consulting activity, and went full time into it. And that's where the journey started. So I got joined by Abhishek, Venkatesh, and Kusal. They started contributing to the mechanical engineering, and I was taking up electronics and other software part. So that's where we kept on building and iterating. Like so, around 2019 is like so 2018 end is where we went full in. 2018 end type we went full in, and then stop all the activities. And actually with our large POC proof of concept, we got a lot of response from the cloud kitchen. Like they approached us and they were looking for automation. So we were actually confused because we started with our own problem, consumer problem, but now this opportunity has come up. And 2019 was like a year where cloud kitchens were very hot, at least in India. Like everyone was talking about it. They were expanding crazily. So we thought business is always good. Let's go for it, right? And we started building. We worked with 3 cloud kitchens. Spend a lot of time in the kitchen, figure out the problems, and we started building a product for them. And we used to call it Flash, because Flash means it is super fast. And idea was that if we make consistent outcome very very fast, which humans can't match time. So so that was a thought process between Flash in the Flash, and then we did it till good time, and then COVID hit. So product development was going. We had one pilot at 8 feet. COVID hit, and suddenly cloud kitchen started facing challenges. Like there were no orders, a lot of people moved back to hometown. demand is not predictable. And eventually, by end of 2020, what happened is like everyone, all the brands that we were working with went through a cold chain because they don't want to worry about food not being sold. Like there's no food wastage if they move to cold chain. So we realized that at least the enterprise problem in a food industry will always be cold chain driven, which is like a brand which has more than 20 outlets will go or has a presence in multiple cities will always go for a frozen supply chain or cold chain. And that's how we are like, okay, we came back to what we started with and started building not more seriously. So we were doing some effort, but 2019 to half of 2020 was completely B2B. Post that, we started like 2020 mid around June, July, we again came back, started B2C product and build the prototype. Since a lot of things were there, we could build the prototype very fast. Given there's a COVID, but we are a good vendor and all that. So end of 2020, we had a prototype in place. We used to, it was our like NOS version 1, so to say, and we used to call alpha. So we started trial of alpha early 2021. We put it at customer place, got a lot of learnings. We also did a pre-order campaign, and this was a big surprise for us because we didn't do any marketing spend. We got covered by 2 PR, Your Story and Better India, and that gave us close to 1,000 pre-orders. Like no marketing spend, nothing, just video, and then it got it done. So we are like, it's really working. Like because coming from the Lumos time, I was always like, is there product market fit? Like, do people need it, right? So we are questioning that from always. Like, we put it at even the trials also we ask the question: does it solve the problem? Doesn't solve the problem? What are the limitations? How we can make it effective? Because food is some problem where you automate something and it should not add part which you have to clean later. So you have to have fine balance between convenience by automation versus cleaning required. So that's why we took some time to get it right, get right that balance with continuously working with the customer. So yeah, that's our journey. We raised seed funding in September 2022, and then we are about to launch the product now. Like,
that's great.
People will have it in their house.
Good. So this sounds almost like science fiction, because if you recollect in Star Trek, you have this outlet where you punch a few things and then you've got a dish. Like it's almost magical. Tell me, what does NOSH mean? Any brand story behind that?
Yeah, so actually, brand story is that we wanted a name which is usable as a verb, right? So which is a noun and verb both. That was our requirement because our thought process was anything we name it should be become like Google it, right? Like we say Google it, right? So we like NOS it. So we like the NOS name because across languages, across cultures, NOS is associated with food. So even Urdu there is a NOS for my Hindi. Exactly. English there is a NOS which means food, and as a verb it means eating greedily. So,
okay. Good.
So we like it. Even German has a word called NOS which is associated with food.
Wow.
So that's why we chose the name NOS, and which means you eat greedily. So it's like so tasty that you don't leave it for others. Right?
Excellent.
Thought process, yeah.
That's great. So thanks, Yatin. So as we discussed, I would like to have a format in which the guests talk about top 5 tips or trends in a specific area. And given now you are in a food tech area, it would be great if you could talk about some 5 top trends in food tech. And that would be very useful for the audience, because specifically with what you're doing from robotics, etc., this is going to be an exciting future. So over to you, Yatin. What, according to you, is the number one trend in this space?
So, Ashish, personally, I feel that robots are coming in kitchens, right? Which is, I think, most of them are starting in a restaurant space, cloud kitchen, B2B space. But there is a heavily robot push is coming because I think a lot of restaurant problems were not addressed for quite some time. So they struggle with very high attrition rate, consistency is hard to achieve, and labors are not easy to manage. Specifically, if you are running, especially in Western countries like US or Canada, Europe, the labor cost is very high. At the same time, if your economics go little down, right, you will close down. So, in fact, 60-70% of the restaurant which open close down within a year, and the reason is like the economics are very hard to manage given a higher labor cost. So, I see a lot of pizza robots coming, which will make automatic pizza. Lot of coffee related coffee machine, but there is a one layer above, so there is a no person involved. Right? Like right now, still the person goes and press the button, etc. But completely automated solution. One other thing is food assembly. You see burgers or hot dogs, all those are actually food assembly problem. Most of things come from the central frozen, but still there's a trained labor required to assemble it and send it across. Right. So I see that a lot of robots are going to come in the restaurant industry. The key part is like how simple is the robot. So I feel that personally, we as well as others in the space did a mistake that we started from the more complex robot that can build, it can automate everything, etc., etc. But I think the really way forward is having a cobot where you start with something. There is still maybe a person involved, like you optimize from 3 people to 1 people, or trained labor to untrained labor, those kind of things. And then you evolve your robot to completely automated. So that I think that's going to come. And actually, the other reason why it is going to come is, let's say burger assembly, right? So burger assembly was not automated so far because it was so much vision driven. You have to put lettuce exactly at that place, patty should be aligned, right? And how is the lettuce, how is the cheese? You have to, it requires the eye actually to look at it. So given that machine learning and computer vision, specifically classification problem has become so easy with her entire development in AI, a lot of vision classification coming into it, and that will drive the automation in the entire space.
So let me just interject on the first point itself. When you're talking of, using vision for repetitive mechanical tasks and the rise of robots, would it be right to say that, I mean, this is just a thought as a layman. Instead of maybe at times labeling may also be an issue, right? For example, if you call your product as a appliance, kitchen appliance, that might find more acceptance than saying robo, because to be frank, when people say robo, they remember or they imagine a humanoid form which is kind of talking back, or which has which is going to respond to your commands. That's not your product, right? So even though it's kind of a robotic processes, it's more of a kitchen appliance, right? So that was one. Yeah, sorry, please continue. You're talking about how computer vision can be used for these repetitive tasks, and specifically on the point of burger assembly.
Yeah. So I think so. Vision coming in, a lot of repetitive or lot of tasks will get automated over time in the restaurant industry, right? And so that I see as a one big trend that is going on.
Got it. So that's great. So what would be the second trend which you see in this food tech area?
Yeah, so second trend is actually quality check, right? And so quality check can happen at multiple levels. One is like farm, where you got the ingredient, you actually harvested the ingredient and you have to sort it out, reject the bad ones, right? So where actually a lot of human effort used to go. So this is something that started to getting completely vision and automation driven. Second is restaurant or a input side of the restaurant, right? Whatever you receive, you can look at it and then say it should go in my fridge or not go in my fridge. That part. So I think there are a bunch of automation coming there. I would say that at least 50% of the large scale companies have already started using this kind of quality and quality checks, like AI for quality checks. Right. Third area where it is being used is like specifically for brands, right? What happens is in a restaurant, sometimes people come and then they mark attendance and then they just go up somewhere. So a lot of live attendance and process attendance, right? So which is like there should be a person doing trial. If he is not there, then restaurant should delist that product from the menu, right? Where he's receiving the online order. So those automation has also started coming very. I think it is now common, very very common across
Got it.
regions.
Got it.
Also the output. So restaurant made something. You have the camera to check was it the right dish, the right dish going, does it look how it the chef wanted it to look. So those checks are actually coming in a big way.
Yeah, and in fact, I was just checking. If we see the ChatGPT vision, right? You would have seen lots of stuff on people, sharing a photo, asking ChatGPT what it is, and it accurately describing what it is, right? So that would be something else. Also, when you talk of quality control from a business perspective, that would have impact on the supply chain also, right? Because your even for example for a restaurant or anyone to implement many of these things, his upstream suppliers also need to have that systems as well as their customers, etc. So possibly what this means that as the adoption increases, you would see the adoption across the supply chain in various levels. So that, and once that happens, then it kind of becomes it has its life of its own. Another thing is specifically when you're talking about quality control and area, one is the visual quality, right? Wherein, for example, let's say there's a burger, which means this is the kind of thing it should look. Do you foresee any trend of doing some analytics or quality control on the taste part? Because that is something very difficult, because human taste, is something which is very unique, right? For example, what a chef would feel, top-notch shelf as, okay, this is a good product or this is a good food. How do you translate that into an automated case, or you foresee a scenario in which that part will still be done only by humans?
So actually, see, my thought process is very simple, right? So eventually, more and more things will get automated. So you can assume that whatever is happening now will get automated over the years. But right now, the limitation is we don't have sensor for taste, we don't have sensor for smell. Smell, I would say there are specific, like very specific smell sensors are there, but it can't replace human being. And personally, I feel that in that area, research has been limited. Like not many people have put in serious effort on that to, let's say, at least automate a smell, right? I see it has a big impact on the quality because you can see a defect or not, but you can always smell a defect. Like it's like that, right? So I think it will take some time to get this sensor technology to be ready. Most of the restaurant manage it in another way, right? So they have standard supply. They have a pre-ingoing and outgoing timing. So if it's very old, you get to know that how old it is, and then you can throw it away. Then continuous monitoring of the freeze temperature, so something goes bad, they get to know. Right. So those are the few checks they always deploy on the quality. So right now, when I say quality checks using AI in food tech, is mostly trying to eliminate human errors. So wrong this going to customer, to the placement not being right, those kind of things it addresses for right now.
Got it.
But like sorting wise, agriculture sorting, there is a good amount of deployment already in US.
Got it.
US.
Great. So, what would be the fourth and fifth trends which you feel are there, which we should consider?
Yeah. So one big thing, and I'm personally very big believer of that, right? So appliances, right? Appliances have been same from many decades. You take your washing machine. It still having a washing machine, you have to do a lot of things by yourself. You take food preparation. There is a humongous amount of effort that goes in making up this for yourself, right? So I feel appliance has to be upscale now and have to have more capabilities. Now your washing machine should separate the clothes, wash it, iron it, fold it, whatnot, right? So I see that within few years there will be homes will become like a um, assembly, and I think it is easily doable stuff, which is you have multiple appliances connected, and then one give it to other give it to other, and then you have a complete end result. So you put a dirty clothes, you get an iron folded clothes, right?
Yeah.
So
Something similar would
I
happen in the
see
kitchen also, right?
kitchen also, like you get an ingredient, one machine is chopping, other machine is cooking, other machine is decorating, serving, right? So I think there's a big way a lot of automation is going to come there,
Right.
because like you see ChatGPT, right? It is so talented, and still you struggle with a basic thing, your laundry and your food, right? It is so basic. So I think our vision is like in 10 years there's a lot of automation going to come, and we will play a large role in it. And actually, compared to labor, compared to effort, real estate, especially in the Western world, is not that costly. So you can take up space and automate stuff.
Great. And in fact, on a lighter note, the next challenge for humans would be, what do you do with the additional free time that is generated?
That is taken by Netflix.
So yeah, but maybe you should think of the next frontier, or what are the next problems, challenges to be solved. Anyway, great. Thanks,
Yeah,
Yatin.
I see the other way, right? So right now, you see the consumer software companies, they are all fighting for human time. They want more active user, more time spent. They're actively tracking it, right? And then we are getting so habituated with doing stuff in the digital world, because everyone is optimizing for how much user is going to spend time on my app, right? So I think that's why it is over optimized there. Human will get free up more, and then that will balance out.
Got it.
That's
Got it. Excellent. Thanks, Yatin. This gives a great perspective. And thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in. Do subscribe, share, and like this podcast. Available on YouTube, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other channels. Bye for now. Talk to you soon.